Yo, how's it going? Welcome to the Minecraft Breakdown with me, your subjectively genius host, Rodney12, the Mighty Gulliver. After stressing myself out for 2 weeks trying to come up with a cool narrative concept for what's essentially a slideshow I'm trying to pass off as entertainment, I finally had what I thought was a really clever idea and I got back to making Minecraft content. Haha! It took me long enough, but it's all coming together nicely. This episode I've got some way out crazy plans to... excuse me? How dare you interrupt the Mighty Gulliver, sir? Anyway, what's your problem? Don't even think about what? What are you trying to suggest, you young scallywag? I'll make an episode however I like. Look, I don't know what your beef is, but I'm pretty sure I don't like the tone of your disapproving headshake, mate. Okay. I understand where you're coming from. And, I'm fair. And seeing that you're one of my 16 loyal subscribers, I will show you how I did it. Rummaging through that chest full of random stuff everyone has at the base, I retrieved the second magical item King Diorite awarded me for and returning his daughter Roxana to safety. Hashtag free the Gulliver cut 100 subs to unlock. It was a magic time reversing clock that reverses time. Yay! According to the instructions, once activated, it causes time to reverse. Who'd have thought? And check this out. The legend responsible for its enchantment had a cracking sense of humour too, because apparently all you had to do was literally turn it on to get it working. Luckily, as you all know, my pimp game is top notch, so I wooed it Chesterfield style by telling it how pretty it was while slapping my tail on its face, and the party got started almost immediately. Now, where I'm from, there's a delightful oral tradition where if you're about to embark on a task, you refer to it as a mission. So in honour of that tradition, I would like to announce, we're going on a mission, man. I could feel the effects of the time enchantment work almost immediately. The only way I can describe it is wow, with a bit of ha and a bit of way out thrown in. The first thing I noticed before I did that was strange. I had just finished moving in, so I had this overwhelming sense of accomplishment, but it was quickly being replaced with the giddy relief that I was almost finished even though I had technically just started too. It was pretty weird. I unclosed a chest which has some vines and shears in it. And I moved the contents inside, including the chest itself, into my inventory and merrily sprinted backwards to where I got them from 10 minutes before. Running backwards was an experience unto itself and it was messing with my head a bit, but once I stopped, it quickly dawned on me that peeing today was definitely not going to be an option. Unbuilding, rebuilding stuff, fuck knows, was I don't know what it is. It was quite a novel experience too. I just swiped down the item, kinda and mashed it back together. Everything seemed really deja vu-y on some level. It was like I had already experienced the experience before and reliving it in real time. While doing the act itself, I was kind of forgetting about doing it too. But I wasn't forgetting, I just can't think of a better word, as I could still remember doing it. It's just that ideas were moving backwards into nothingness. I was simultaneously forgetting my future while remembering and moving through my past but during my present. So the future is my recent past, and as this is happening now, I'm travelling through my past via the present to get to my future, which will be in the past. Is that right? My head hurts. Surely there'll be consequences to this, but we're here now, so fuck it. Disclaimer, do not think too hard about this episode. Do not give me shit in the comments because I haven't thought something that I said through. I don't care. This episode's done my head in. Fuck off. Oh, but Rodney, it's clear that you don't know how time travel works because blah, 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 blah. I'm a fucking nerd. Rant. You shouldn't be making episodes if you don't know what you're fucking on about. Right. You may have a point, but I don't give a shit. Back to the show. I now had 2 empty double chests ready to refill, so like a female with daddy issues, I suddenly had the urge to ease the emptiness in my life by grabbing some wood. Over at my wood chest, feeling like a divorced frisky mum at a party with an ex, I reacquainted myself with some familiar lumber. I grabbed an oddly specific amount of wood, which I haven't got a joke for, and went back to the new old chest to empty my, now that I think of it, interdimensional space-defying pockets of large but finite capacity and placed everything inside it. Back inside my base, I was compelled to carry a single stick around with me, so I retrieved one from my personal stick furnace. A further urge hit me to carry exactly 5 torches and 14 ladders, which I got from that random box of stuff everyone has at the base. Continuing with my strange shopping list, I added 30 iron bars, 5 furnaces, glass, sand, a bizarre mix of different flavoured pebbles, a bunch of cobblestone, and then I topped it off with some dirt. Then retrace my steps to unbring it back to where it was before I took it to where it had just been, which I was pleasantly unsurprised to find out was the chest that had the vines and shears in it. I legged it backwards again, and I'd like to point out at this point that breathing in reverse, while it seems like you're doing the same thing, really is not the same thing. Try it. Where was I? So I legged it backwards into my base where I seemed to be eager to remove the crafting table, while then proceeding, reseeding, fuck knows, to remove the furnace setup in its entirety. Back outside where my old base camp was going to be, I threw up the contents of my pockets and made a crafting table materialise using the kinetic energy generated by swinging my pickaxe. And I tell you what, I nearly shit back into myself when all the items imploded back into a chest that uncracked into a reality. It didn't take long for the old furnace setup to become the new one. After that I had a quick I'm trying to say jog backwards to be clever. Anyway, I had a quick jog backwards. I had a quick jog backwards to my base that I'm on. Oh my god! I had a quick gauge back to my base that I'm uninhabiting. I began to unwrite a sign. I'm always bloody unning. There's got to be a better way to do it. I can do better. I'm sure I can. Oh, let's have a go. I began to erase the lexicon of descriptive labelling from the surface of the old oak plank that was attached to a dreary monster of a chest I won back in the day over a spot of Blood Bowl and tea with the Queen of Colungaria, because I needed extra room to put all the bodies of other content creators and or whiny dickheads that need folding into one. Nailed it. I finished rubbing words off stuff, emptied the chest and delocated myself back to the camp that used to be here both after and before a subscriber bullied me into time fiddling. Dickhead. I'm having a lot of regrets about the format of this episode. That random box of stuff everyone has at the base was created and impregnated while I repondered over ideas I had just in case I missed anything the first time round, and I watched the majesty of nature being fucked with as I took in my first setting sunrise, which heralded in a new old day that was yesterday. As the moonset rose, which is now total headcanon for being the title of a weird electronica album by a band called One of 31 that was inspired by me and the weird stuff that I say. Anyway, I cracked on and cobblestone was last on the agenda to put across on my mental things to undo list. Yesterday night was started by puking up 2 potatoes because apparently I was too full, and it was not how I envisioned my evening to end up starting, or something like that. I spent the rest of the day pre-locating rocks and their containment vessels when I suddenly felt super awake, so I went to bed and then awoke tired, and it was now the night belonging to the day of the day before yesterday, I think. Not much happened after that. I shifted some dirt. Added 2 more potatoes to my inventory, shifted some other stuff either side of yet another potato conjuring, then I moved the food back to where it went so I could go and move it back later. I did my best logistically inclined pimp jeweler impression and moved some ores about, and once my metaphorical hoes were in order and accounted for, cause Pimp Daddy Schmade don't like no runners, y'all, I turned my focus back to the chest from the start, or the vines and shears chest for clarity. I took out some wood, again, I ain't got any jokes for that, dirt, a couple of stacks of my beloved glass, glass, note spawns on it, and grabbed some furnaces from later. Then I turned my attention to the future storage facility and plotted to make it an historical landmark on inaccurate maps, until I build it again. Removing the glass floor was a doddle, and it was nice to be able to retrieve the glass in one piece for a change as it just jumped into my hand. Another thing I was noticing was that the feeling of satisfaction in reverse was strange as fuck. When I started, I had all the symptoms of proud accomplishment which reversed into feelings of anticipation. It was almost like being happy but backwards. As I was getting used to the whole reverse malarkey, I wasn't shocked when a bunch of coal and 5 furnaces popped out onto the floor, which I began to unbreak and rebuild. I was quite intrigued about the effects of time on this contraption, and I wasn't disappointed. Anything I put in, which in this case was glass, glass, note spawns on it, was decooked back into its original form, and not only that, I was gaining coal out of it too. Amazing! As I went, the glass I was collecting was chucked into the anti-furnace, changed back into sand that was going to be released back into the wilds at an earlier date. I got bored fast and had the urge to exit my base and do a spot of terraforming. I felt like there needed to be a tree on the floor, so I went with it and forged the trunk of a birch tree. Hearing the wood mould itself back into being was so satisfying. As night turned into the evening of before whatever day we're on now, I watched in awe as leaves started to simply exist, which was nice because it dictated where the trunks were going to be placed, so I got on it and played God for a bit. Before you could say edit some bits out to make it seem more fluid, I had erected 2 oak trees and a birch tree that were totally going to be in my way. I got very awake again, so I went to bed. I woke up tired and moped about until the afternoon. I checked the anti-furnaces, bagged up all the sand that I had and went to put it all back. This was also very satisfying to observe, as watching the sand particles take form as I tapped it with a shovel jazzed me loads. After I completed my task, I had 2 new unused shovels cluttering up my inventory, so I plonked down a crafting table, and after it was fully corporeal, which is probably the wrong word, I unmade the tools, pinned my crafting station back into my pockets and continued to the storage floor until full completion. I felt like putting a ladder up for the days of future past. It's an X-Men reference. I popped some glass into the furnaces for molecule readjustment and began to uninstall the glass walls. Windows. A glass wall, still windows. This episode's confusing enough. At the end of my lunch break, I regurgitated a potato and waited for my break to start before I went back to work. For the purposes of brevity and my sanity, I'm going to speedrun this next bit. I took out all the side window walls over a period of reverse time, and then I went to the floor of the roof. Forgot memories while remembering them, I think, while watching the day before arrive in all its celestial glory, and then I got about remantling the roof. I got the feeling I was running out of sand, so the furnaces were restocked with glass, and then the sand was put back from where I found it as I refilled the sand pit. Then I repeated that process again because you can never have enough sand to put back in the desert. After I bathed up a lump potato due to extreme satiation, I put back some coal that unfueled itself from the furnace into the tool chest, then ran back to a spot under my base to unmake 3 brand new shovels I was burdened with after my reapplication of sand. Banging up my trusty crafting table, I did what I just described and replanted some sticks as well. Buttons were re-obtained from this chest before I went and finished unroofing the storage facility. I had a nap until the day before again and unmade some glass. And you know what, even though this is a time travel episode, I haven't really got the time to get into it, so let's just skip to here. Glass was removed, stored, potatoes were spewed, got it banging, moving on.
Como se na voz disse eu